walk us through for some of the people listening on here, because they want to hear some questions that you've learned from the virtual training course that you're in. Okay, some of maybe the group coaching you've been on. Mm-hmm. You're in a little bit of group coaching with the program you're in. We don't. Mm-hmm. That's maybe in our advanced 3.0 and inner circle. That's all. But let's just walk it through. Like before you learned NEPQ, what would you really start to say to start your calls? Just tell us what you used to say.
Yeah. Usually what I would say in the beginning is I would ask an open-ended question.
Okay.
Like just, hey, what brought you to the call? Okay. Or I'd just be like, hey, what were you looking to get out of the call today? Or they would just kind of start rambling.
Okay. So that's how you used to start it. And then typically how do people respond to that?
They might go on and share. If it's someone with a lot of need and a lot of pain, they might ramble for like 10 minutes, and then they're kind of giving me a lot, and then I have to stop and ask them questions. Or it's kind of like the first 10 minutes of the call could look a little bit different without having a lot of structure for the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. Because if you just let them ramble on, they're going to go
keep going. Yeah,
holes that are not helping you make the sale, but it's not really helping them at all. Okay.
Yeah.
So then when you got into the portal, you started learning about connecting questions. What's one question you're now using that you didn't have before that's really helping you from what you've learned
for the beginning or just in general?
Just to start connecting questions. Yeah.
Honestly, in the beginning, I've still been adapting NEPQ and figuring out how it fits in. So I'm more comfortable with it now. But even when I still ask the open-ended questions, still at least going to like a situation question, like what are you currently doing to get more leads? And then going to, do you like that? So at least I was starting it the same way, but I'm putting it in the right direction and going into the rest of the
One good thing for you to incorporate, you just haven't learned this yet because you're not in 3.0 or inner circle, is you have to really set like a light frame, but you have to do it in a way where it opens them up. It's not like, at the end of the call, you're going to make a decision. Is it going to be yes or is it going to be no? I mean, you can't say that. That just triggers resistance. Where they're just not going to open up because they feel like you're just trying to sell them. It's just like a creepy feeling, right? So what you're going to say is like, because we write a lot of sales structures for your space too. So, after you start opening up, there's a couple connecting questions. And then like the live frame would be for your space. You'd be like, okay, so I would say the first, now do you do a 1 or 2 call close?
We've been switching back and forth, but now it's a 1 call.
Okay. So you're doing a 1 call close. So if it's a 1 call close, you would say the first part of this call. If it's a 2 call close, you would say this first call. That'd be the difference. So let's say 1 call close. So really the first part of this call, John, I would say is more for us, to find out more about kind of what you've done in the past to really grow the business. And then I would say what you're looking for just to see if we can actually help, because there's just some businesses where there's just not much we can do for them. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Now, when we say, because there's just some businesses where there's just not much we can do for them, you know what I mean by that? What do you think that triggers in the prospect's mind?
It's a pattern interrupt. They're like, oh, this guy's not just trying to shove a product down my throat. And I guess I think it just opens them up a little bit more to not feel like they're being sold and more like sales pressure. Yeah.
Now, when they don't feel sales pressure, you feel like they're more open to telling you what's really going on.
Oh yeah. The vibe is different. It feels more like a conversation with
when somebody feels sales pressure, what do? They close off.
Yeah. They don't tell you much.
They're not going to open up. And when they don't open up, they're not going to bring out any emotions. And if they don't have any emotional attachment to the problem and the need to solve it, do they ever buy? No. Okay.
No.
So we have to get them to open up. It's all about what we call the ABDs of selling, not the ABCs of closing. Always be closing. That's old school. Mm-hmm. Like if you want to go back and sell in the 1930s or 50s, go for it. But we're in 2021. Okay. It's not always be closing. It's just going to trigger sales resistance, especially if you sell something that's more high end, unless you're selling like a $5 magazine subscription, like you shouldn't, it's just going to trigger sales resistance. Okay. So in the real world of sales, with pretty much 99% of industries out there, it's always be disarming. What questions are you asking throughout that conversation that continually disarms the prospect and triggers them to want to engage further, want to open up and go deeper and what's really going on. And the deeper they go on to how it's really affecting them and how they want to change, the more likely they are to want to actually follow through and change. You don't have to chase them around. They chase you. Okay. Let's talk about your situation questions. I think you brought up one. How did you used to try to find out what their situation was before you learned NEPQ?
I mean, dude, I would just let them ramble and I would just pick out little bits. So it was kind of like, I mean, it still worked. Like we still closed deals, but it wasn't nearly as good as where it was.
You're closing 600% more deals now.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a difference, right? Income for sure. So we never want to let them ramble. So with what you're doing, I think you have a good situation question. There's going to be more that you'll need to ask, but like one good one for your space is, okay, so walk me through what are you guys doing now to generate new leads and clients in the business? That would be like the first situation question. Now, there's probably about 3 or 4 more you're going to need to ask for your space. That's probably one you want to use for your space to start with. Now, problem awareness. Let's talk about that. How do we help them find out? How do we help them, not just us, but how do we help them find out what their real problems are and help them find out the root cause of the problem, how it's affecting them? Okay, like the root cause, like what's causing the problem, okay? Because if you can't help them find what's causing the problem and to treat the actual problem rather than the symptom, you would be the same as like some type of doctor that a patient comes in and you're just giving them drugs to treat the symptoms, but you're not helping them solve the actual disease. You'd be a worthless doctor. You'd just be an average doctor. The very best doctors, the reason why they get paid millions of dollars is because they're not just helping you fight off the symptoms, giving you some medication for the symptoms. They're helping you solve the problem of the disease, to eliminate the disease, eliminate the problem. That's why they get paid so much. The same is true in sales and companies. So how do you help them? What's one good problem awareness question? I'm not going to have you give out all your problem awareness questions, but what's one good problem awareness question that you're asking them that kind of triggers them to open up?
Well, usually I'll start with, do you like X? Unless they tell me they don't like it, then I'll go a different direction.
Let's pretend in the connecting questions like, oh yeah, we're on here because we don't like this, we don't like that. You got to be careful in the problem.
Yeah, right.
Because you still want to ask them, do they like what they're doing? But you know what you have to do. You haven't learned this yet. You're just a newbie at there, but you want to include that in the problem awareness question. So tell me what they might say when you ask a connecting question. Tell me something that they might just bring up randomly that they don't like. Just tell me what it is.
We're getting a lot of leads, but the leads are really bad quality.
Okay. So then I write that down. So I've got that note in my mind. Okay. So help me understand here. This would be my first problem awareness question for you. Okay. So besides the kind of the lower quality leads, do you like the results you're getting from those leads? Okay. So I put in what they already said they don't like, because usually, AJ, when they tell me one thing they don't like, especially in the beginning, that's usually the surface of what they don't like. There's usually a lot more behind that. Does that make sense? But you can't go in the first problem awareness question and say, do you like the leads you're getting, when they already told you one thing they don't like? You have to include that in the first part of the problem awareness question. Give me some free coaching. Okay. So besides the lower quality leads, do you like, and now it could be for your space, it could be different multiple avenues. It could be, do you like the way you're generating leads? Or it could be, do you like, so besides just the lower quality, do you like the results you're getting from those? Or it could be, do you like, besides the lower quality, do you like the way you're generating leads? Or it could be different angles you take it depending on who you're talking to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Let's talk about your solution awareness questions. Solution awareness questions help them see what their future is going to look like once the problems are actually solved, right? So we're helping them see what the real problems are, how it's affecting them. We're really clarifying and probing that to help them relive the pain. Even if we know what their pain is, we can't tell them that, because that doesn't help them relive it. We have to ask questions that allow them to tell that and resurface that emotionally, because that's when they're emotionally buying in. What's a good solution awareness question you're now using to help them see what their future is going to look like once the problem's solved?
Yeah. So one question, I don't know if this is kind of a problem awareness question, but usually how I start solution awareness is, what have you tried to do to fix that? Or what do you know?
That's the first part of solution awareness. So
transitioning into it. Yeah.
yeah. So before we met here, were you out there looking for
Yeah.
systems or ways to really scale the business, or what were you really trying to do to really grow your company? That would be like the first solution awareness question. Now, typically, what does that question do for the prospect?
It helps them realize if they've been procrastinating or doing nothing, or it might get them explaining more about, I've tried this and it didn't work. It's a pain in the ass or something like that.
Okay, good. All right. Now, I'm not going to go over the rest of the solution. There's a lot of solution awareness questions you have to really get them to focus on what the future is going to look like once the problem's solved, but we won't go into that today. We've just got a few more minutes. So once they start to visualize what it's going to be like, how things are going to be different once this problem is solved, we then want to ask a consequence question that rips that future away from them in their mind and forces them to defend themselves on why they have to change now to have what they want. See what we're doing with consequence question?
Yeah.
They're there. What's a good consequence question you ask to help them realize that?
In my case, I mean, honestly, this is the one part of the flow I'm really trying to get better with. I feel like I have a good handle for problem solution awareness now, but I think for my calls, it's usually like, hey, well, have you considered what might happen if this didn't work, or if you didn't find the right solution for this?
That's not bad. Yeah, but I don't know how powerful that is. That's an okay consequence question for what you sell. But you want to ask far more powerful that gets very specific. Okay, but what if you don't do anything about this though? And you keep getting these lower quality leads to your salespeople the next 3, 6, even 12 months from now. You got to be more skeptical there.
Yeah. Gotcha.
That's going to hit home far more. The consequence question has to land. Otherwise, you're losing a ton of deals that you would be making. Okay. So that consequence question is very important. So you need to work on that. You're a newbie. You're just in 2.0. You're doing good for 2.0. But when you get in the more advanced stuff, you're going to learn these things. It's going to probably triple overnight what you're doing right now. Okay. All right. Then you go through, so you do a one call close now. You kind of go through your presentation. And then what's one good, after you go through your presentation, there's a lot to that, how we structure those 3-step process to emotionally connect the dots. What's a good commitment question? So instead of just closing, like, do you want to start tomorrow or Wednesday at 5? What's one good commitment question you're asking to get them to commit to take the next step to purchase your solution so they can solve their problems and get where they want to go?
Yeah. So usually after I explain the offer, I would ask I forget what it's called, but it's like kind of light mini closes. It's almost like, if you were to do this, do you have an idea of what the time frame might be? And then might be like, oh, well, honestly, like if we could do this, I would do it ASAP. So I might ask 1 or 2 of those.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
In your space, you wouldn't ask those questions. No. It's more of a complex selling environment where you're talking about deals that are like $500,000, $1 million plus. With what you do, you can ask it. It's okay, but it's not helping you, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. So would you just skip over it and go right to the actual commitment question, or just have some like lead?
So after you go through and you bring up the funding they're going to need to solve the problem to get where they want, there's a whole process you do with that. You just haven't, we teach more of that in the 3.0, more of the presentation stuff and proposal stuff. You're simply saying, so we're just walking in. So do you feel like this could be the answer for you?
Yeah, that's the one I use.
See how we're asking that though. If we just say, do you feel like this could be the answer for you? It's like, it's a knee-jerk question that requires a knee-jerk response because they don't think about it deeper. But if I slow it down and say, okay, so do you feel like this could be the answer for you? Now, most of the time, if you've done that right, 99% are going to say, yeah, I do. Or they're going to say, yeah, I do, but I don't have the money. They're going to say some type of concern. Okay. Yeah. Now, if they say some type of concern, you're going to say, yeah, not a problem. Just, the money aside, why do you feel like it is though? Okay. So I swat the money aside. Okay. But the money aside, why do you feel like it is though? Now, if they just come back and say, yeah, I do feel like it is, you wouldn't say that. You say, but hold on. Why do you feel like it is though?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a probing question. They're going to tell you why they feel like it's what they're looking for. But more importantly, who are they telling?
Themselves.
Right. Self-persuasion.
Yeah.
All right, good. AJ, that was pretty good. I didn't want to reveal all of your secrets. You're still learning a lot of secrets.
Of course, yeah.
So new here. Any last words of advice for any salespeople or small business owners that are listening to you right now, or even larger business owners? Any words of advice you would give them from what you're learning so far?
About NEPQ or
just anything. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say like commit to getting as good as possible at sales, because every time I like level up my sales skills, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities. And I'm always like, holy shit, how much better can I get from here? Oops, sorry if I can't curse in here.
It's okay. But the SHIT word is acceptable. That's
fair enough.
Yeah. That's about the only one, but we'll go with that. Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, like, I mean, when I got into sales when I was 18, it wasn't because I wanted to be in sales forever. I always wanted to build businesses, which still is being in sales. But just mastering this skill, like it just, out of all the different things you could learn to grow as a person or as an entrepreneur, if you run a business, sales is like that one central thing that always helps you. Because even, I mean, we hired a closer now. So I'm a little bit more removed from the sales process, more focused on marketing and management, but you're always selling. Like I'm always, you're always selling your team, negotiating, forming partnerships. And of course, you have to be the best salesperson for your company.
Yeah, because your sales skills that have gotten you to the level you're at now, whether you make $3,000 a month, whether you make 5 or 6, whether you make 10, whether you make 15, whether you make 20, 25, are only going to keep you where?
Yeah, same spot.
Exactly where you're at. So if we want to get here, what has gotten us here is not going to get us to here, right? We have to learn more advanced skills. What's the biggest expense in life? I always say it. Anytime I'm training an event, whether it's virtual or in person, your biggest expense in life is your lack of knowledge. That's your biggest expense. It's your lack of knowledge of not learning the right skills that work with human behavior for you as a salesperson to make at least $300,000 a year in commissions as a salesperson. If you're a business owner, it's a lack of knowledge to allow your sales team to be able to scale your company. That is the only literal thing that's holding you back from going from here to here, is you still haven't learned the right skills. So you have to ask yourself, are you willing to pay life another 12 months because you still haven't learned the right skills? So let's say you want to make $300,000 a year as a sales professional. And let's say last year you were an above average salesperson. You made $80,000 in commissions. Okay. And let's say you really want to make 250. So write on a piece of paper, 250 right below what you made last year and subtract the difference and circle that difference. Let's say if you made $80,000 last year in commissions, but you want to make $250,000 a year in commissions, subtract that. What is the difference in that? That's $170,000. Well, that's your biggest expense. You as a salesperson listening in, that's what you keep paying life every single year because you still are not willing to learn the right skills of what it takes to make at least $250,000 a year as a sales professional. If you've already making that, it's the same thing. How do you go to $350,000 or $500,000 a year as a sales professional or more? Right? So you have to ask yourself, are you willing to pay life another 12 months because you're still not learning the right skills that work with human behavior to get there? All right. AJ, thanks for being on. Congratulations on your success, and looking forward to seeing what you and your company accomplish even in the next 90 days to 6 months to 12 months from now.
Thanks, man. Thanks for the help. Thanks for having me.
Okay, everybody.
See ya.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed these, here's another you can watch right over here, right over here. Join our free Sales Revolution group. Click the link below, join us, and we're gonna help you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon.